B-boy. From the old to the new, still a B-boy. Too bold for the school, still a B-boy. East Coast to the West, B-boys worldwide. We supposed to be blessed, still a B-boy.
This week, we're heading east to talk about a rapper who took the game by surprise and became a superstar almost overnight. With gritty beats, his street tales, and unique flow and voice, Darkman X dominated hip hop for about a 5-year span in the late 90s, early 2000s. This week, top 10 DMX songs. Joining me, as always, Raven Hunter, and we got Riplak in the house. The three of us are going to hold it down and talk about some Rough Riders music. So, as always, I'll start number 10, and I'm going to 2003's Grand Champ, an album that I think held up so well. I love this more now than I did originally when it came out. I was amazed how many songs made my list and honorable mentions from this record, but the song is called On Top. The song On Top features Big Stan, and they both kill their verse. It's a faster beat by Mac G, and I just love how they flow on it, and it just kept going off my list and on and off, on, off, on. So I had to take some bigger name songs off, hoping you guys have it, to get On Top on there, because they just flow so dope on there. Him and Big Stan work good together. So that was my number 10. Raven, what's yours?
I agree with you about that album. I like that a whole lot more than I remembered.
Yeah.
Same with, and then there was X. I actually really like that album a lot more than I remember. Great Depression. I honestly don't know if anything made my list, to be honest.
Yeah, it was amazing how it was just
Yeah, it
kind
just
of
went down for me.
whatever.
Yeah. Anyway, number 10. I went to, and then there was X for One More Road to Cross. I love the hook. I like the flow. I love that beat. I like X on those types of songs. I got kind of a lot of my inspiration in the way I rap, my grittiness on the beat from DMX. So I love his really hard street shit. But he makes some amazing, just real, just fucking you can feel type songs too. And way more of those made my list than I expected, but I started off with the One More Road to Cross.
And that started that record. I always talk about first songs. It set the mood for that record. It is a dope song, dope beat, like you said. And something else I'll be talking about later is DMX is kind of underrated storyteller. He's got a lot of really vivid story type tracks that are really, really fucking good. And even I never thought about him as a storytelling MC, but there's some really great stories he tells. Good pick. Riplak, what's your number 10?
Yeah, One More Road Across was my top honorable mention, man. And I listened to it like 3 times, like, man. But I
Such a
had,
good
I
song.
had 10 others. I was like, all right. This one right here, my number 10 almost didn't make it. How It's Going Down. So It's Dark and How It's Hot is like my favorite hip hop album. And one of the reasons is because you can put that cassette tape in and just let it play through, flip it, let it play through. It was not one of those annoying ass ones. So How It's Going Down is good. It shows his I don't know, it's kind of like a woman song, but it was like he was still being like his grimy, like, you know, politicking with this chicken and just like going like. So I thought that was cool because the hook is so catchy. And like just hearing that song, and honestly, it's not really my type to make a list like this, but the way he dominated it.
That album holds up. We're talking about albums holding up. That holds up really
Track for
good.
track. Like
Track
track
for
for track.
track, like you said, Rip
Still,
Black, just straight through. Such a dope debut album.
don't get
And
sick of it like
uh,
at all.
and he came out of nowhere. There was no MC ever who rapped just like that, or he was just such a unique thing, and he just blew up with these songs that shouldn't seem like they should cross over to mainstream casual fans, but they did. You had, soccer moms screaming, singing along to Party Up and shit. But if you listen to the lyrics, it's still street lyrics. So it's
Yeah.
funny to me when that shit happens. But no, dope album. I'm sure all three of us will talk about that album again. My number 9 from 98's is Dark and Hell is Hot. I'm going with X is Coming. I love this song. The Freddy Krueger nursery rhyme and the hook is what got it on the list for me. I love 80s horror movies, and some of my favorites were the Elm Street ones. So that always got me from the beginning. It's a gritty beat, street tales like only he can spit. And it's just kind of like a lyrical horror movie. And I just talked about it. It's amazing how this album blew up and just like punched everyone in the face. Such a great record. So
It's
X
got
is
the
coming. So
yeah, it's
good.
got the 1, 2, this is coming
Yep.
for you, like the kids, and then it just
Yep. So that was my number 9. Raven, what about you?
So I'm gonna also stay on It's Dark and Hell is Hot. Really cool about that album. The day it came out, Big Punisher, Capital Punishment had just come out, and I bought both those albums day one, and I couldn't have been happier that day. Just listening to those two tapes all fucking day. Because Pun is another that album is fucking classic.
Oh,
But anyway, number 9, yeah, I went with ATF. Now it's a shorter song. It's only like just under 2 minutes, but I love the flow. I love the story from the blah, 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 open the door, ATF, like all the way through to him yelling at his girl and Carlos, and just it's a dope story in 2 minutes. And I love that beat and flow.
well, like I said, he really is a good storyteller when you really go through all of it at once, his catalog. Another great example. And another thing, I know we talked about it on a previous podcast, but the Stark and Hell is Hot album is one of the handful that came with that extra bonus disc on release day that
And
had
that one
like
had Ripper.
that had
That one
Jack the
had the
Ripper,
Ripper.
Ripper Strikes
Yep.
Back from LL, yeah.
Because then Death Squad and Onyx, they had volumes
Yes.
2 and 3.
Yep, I know I had the El Nino one too. I had the Onyx album. I don't remember if I had with the bonus disc, but anyways, has nothing to do with anything. Number 9, Riplak. What's on your list?
I actually went with Who We Be,
Oh,
and
I like that song.
it hit so hard, and like just the way he let like 2 word bars basically, and the bullshit, the drama, the
Yep.
gun, the like just punches you, and then it kind of goes into the the singing hook, and then just starts punching you and punching you. But I don't know, man. Like that shit was just different to me. I just love a lot of the stuff this man does, like or did. So catchy, dude. Like and I know when he passed away, like so many people went into like, including myself. I was like, play DMX radio. It was just like, hit, and I knew this, but I was just like, wow, like, are you kidding
He
me?
had so many. Yep.
So much,
Yeah.
and that one just punches you right in the face too.
Yeah, that was an honorable mention. That was one of the few off of Great Depression I really liked. Like you said, that unique flow. It was like a punch in the face, just
Hmm.
almost a flow that only he could do like that. And you're right, going through this, it was like, fuck, DMX had a lot of big songs. It's like you said, I knew it, but I didn't really, I
But
was
the
just
fact
reminded of
they
it.
just, yeah, like they just play like, you just have it on for hours and you don't even hear a repeat song. It's just like, what the?
But
Yeah,
every album had like at least 5 singles, like his first 5 albums, and they were all top hits.
right. What's interesting is like a song Who We Be or like Party Up, like every album had a song with all those same ingredients, but it still was good every time, even though it was kind of the same single ingredient to make a single. I always thought, but I still enjoyed them and it still worked. But this next song is gonna be kind of like that same formula. My number 8, I'm going to 2003's Cradle to the Grave soundtrack. X gonna give it to you. Man, this beat is so good. It just forces my head to bob along. I could have whiplash, broken neck, be paralyzed. I will still bob my head to this joint when it comes on. The beat drops in perfect places in the verse, which I always love. X has a lot of songs with this vibe, like I was just saying, but they're all dope and they all work. And this is a decent soundtrack. But this was a standout along with another song that almost made my list, and that was Go to Sleep that has M on it with the Ja Rule disc. That's a hard ass song. But I gave the win to X Gonna Give It to You. That's my number 8. Raven, what's yours?
My number 8. I went yeah, actually I made a note that says DMX can flow to any part of any beat. Much like y'all were just talking
All
about.
right.
He can flow to any part of that beat and it'll still be a hit. But I went to 2001's Exit Wound soundtrack for No Sunshine. Man, what a good fucking sample and beats and flow, and just another one of those like real feel type of songs from X that I fucking just love how he handles that.
That was an honorable mention. No, he does do good on the real songs as well. So number 8 for you, Riplak. What is it?
Number 8 is Damien. Man, that's a story in itself. And then he starts talking, like he's gonna do his man in, and like, yeah, I liked it a lot back then. I haven't listened to it in a while, but like back when that came out though, that shit was interesting to me. Switching back and forth on that voice, like that little Damien and his son
Right.
talking to his son and like all that
Mhm.
shit. I thought it was cool as fuck.
Oh,
That's a
that's
great song.
such good storytelling. And he did three of them, but the first one is a standout to me, a lot over one, two, and three.
Yeah, the other one's lost me, man. Like I
Yeah.
tried, but I was like, that should have been a non-sequel song to me. But I just think that the first one was just that it was just so different when it came out to me. I mean, like,
Man, dope song. That will get brought up again. So we are already on seven. I'm just going to different albums every pick. I'm in 1998's Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, with the first actual song, Bring Your Whole Crew. I mean, right from he starts it, I got blood on my hand and there's no remorse. I got blood on my dick because I fucked a corpse. You're like, ill, DMX, ill fucking line. And it just keeps going with dopeness. It's just that street gritty, rough, grimy, ill shit. And some people might forget he put out Dark Hell and Hot, Flush My Flesh in the same year, 98. Both these records came out. Just amazing to put out not only two albums, but two high quality ones. This was a great way to start this record. Bring Your Whole Crew makes me want to bring my whole crew and go jump someone or something. I don't know. Number seven on your list, Raven.
I went back to As Dark as Hell is Hot with Damien. That song is a great concept story. We've already just heard about it, but it's so good. And I didn't like anything past two. Like I still like The Omen on the second album, but I
Mhm.
didn't like three or four or whatever. But it should have ended way earlier than it did. But one at the time, that was such a just fucking great story. He calls for an angel, and then Damien appears.
Yeah, such great storytelling. Such a dope song. I'm glad you two liked it as much as I did. Number seven for you, Riplak.
this one's been talked about briefly, but Party Up in here.
That was an honorable mention.
Yeah, very, very. I think that was a very good song for being like more of a mainstream one.
I think if you ask the casual person on the street, name a DMX song, a lot of them will say that song.
Yeah.
That was probably his biggest hit, at least crossover wise. But it's still a dope song. I
What
mean,
I'm saying, like it's hard for me, and it kind of has like it's I don't know, like mainstream ones really like a lot of the time don't hit me the same way, but DMX is like there's like maybe two mainstream ones I don't like from him. Well, there's like three because there's one that everybody likes that's not gonna make my list that might make your guys's, and I bet you my number one nobody you guys might not even have on your list. We'll see.
we'll see. We'll
We'll see.
see.
We'll see. But up in here, that's mine.
No, even though I've heard it a million times, I still smile every time. You know the part, you're whack, you twisted, your girl's a hoe. I mean, that whole shit makes me laugh still.
Yeah,
Yesterday.
see,
Yeah, it's just funny. The way he says it, it's
I
just,
love my baby.
yeah, I love my baby mama. I never let it go.
It's great.
Well, for my number six, I'm gonna stay on that album, 99's, and then there was X, but I'm not picking that song. I'm picking a song that was brought up, One More Road to Cross. This album, when it dropped, I liked his first two a lot and played them. This album, when it dropped, for some reason, just spoke to me at that time, and I played this CD out for whatever reason. So this CD is always my go-to for X. Hell is Hot is really close second, but this just hit me when it came out, and it was a great way to start the album. Everything else has been said. Dope storytelling, great beat by Swiss Beats. So one more road to cross with my number six. Raven, what's yours?
2003, Cradle to the Grave, Go to Sleep with Obi Trice and DMX.
Ah,
Or Eminem. Yeah, that song is it's fucking hard. The beat's hard. M goes hard, Trice goes
yeah,
hard.
they all
Um,
do.
I liked Ja's first album, and then I was just like, fuck Ja Rule from everything after that anyway. So I was just like, yeah, fuck Ja Rule.
But
But it was just a hard ass song, and it was just nasty of them to do that in a movie soundtrack.
you're right.
Facts.
That's a hard ass song. That was an honorable mention. Great pick. Number 6 for you, Riplak.
I got What's My Name, and I like the way
DMX. Sorry.
What's my DMX out in the bed. But yeah, like I like how he just switches the flow up on that one too. I love how he delivers on that song and the beat.
So many singles, like we said. It's amazing all these singles he had. So speaking of those singles, my number 5, I'm going back to Grand Champ and Where the Hood At. Now, the elephant in the room going over this was the first verse is extremely homophobic. It ages terribly. Like the whole verse is really homophobic, but goddamn, this is the definition of a street anthem. Just that hook and that beat is just so fucking great as a hip hop anthem. It hits so hard. Classic Rough Riders DMX street anthem. I know it's gotten when everyone was doing the cancel culture. I remember a lot of people were picking on this song, and it's the first verse. If you're really paying attention, is just a whole verse about hating gay guys. But fuck, does it hit? That beat's so fucking dope. So it made my list at number 5. No hate mail, no hate mail. I don't agree with the first verse, but that hook gets me hype. That was my number 5. What was yours, Raven?
Unfortunately, X had a lot of homophobic stuff in his music. It's hard to get around to Shot Down with 50 Cent and Styles P from Grand Champ. X drops a slur or two in that song as well. But I love the beat. It feels very New York. 50 and Styles killed it, and I'm not really a 50 fan, and I'm a Chic Luch fan from the Locks. So but they both did their thing in that song. I just love that beat. And I do like X's verse aside from a slur here or there, but it's kind of hard to pick X songs that he doesn't drop some kind of slur.
Right, right. Yeah, that was an honorable mention. And just like you, I never was a huge 50 Cent fan, casual at best. So there's very few times I'm like, oh, 50's on this song. But you're right, the
Nice.
beat is just dope. That was an honorable mention. What was number 5 for you, Riplak?
Yeah, man, some of these like you guys are talking about are the collab ones are fucking awesome. Like I'm just so like diehard like DMX that I don't think I have features on any of these, but like I could have put those for sure. Number 5, X is coming. We've talked about it, and I talked about it when you talked about it, but it's a great song and it fits him. You just couldn't ask for a better little like song just in the middle of all that shit. Like
Such a great album, and I know we keep saying that.
and there's like ones I would get stuck on, and I remember the little bit I got stuck on that song when I was really like, this song's really fucking good. And I just kind of was into it, like kind of, when you start listening to a song like multiple times in a week or whatever.
All right, we are at the 4 already, and I'm staying with 2003's Grand Champ. I told you, I love this album. Is this my new favorite DMX album? I don't know, but I'm going with the song We Bout to Blow. Yes, another song with Big Stan, but he's really, really dope, and these two fit great together. I was thinking I would like to have a DMX Big Stan album. It's a faster beat with a faster flow, but they both kill it. It's just some MC shit. They're both just as lyrical as X can get, and Big Stan just kills it. Real tricky rhymes and shit. But I wanted to point this out, so this is going to be a little bit of a speech. It samples a song from the 1970s called Sesame Street by a funk singer named Blowfly. So I did some research, and this is a singer from the 70s who made all these explicit songs. And this one, he takes the Sesame Street, A is for apple, B is for whatever, and it's all vulgar. Like he goes, C stands for cunt, D stands for dick, and it's real, like it's like 2 Live Crew vulgar. I mean, it's like cunt, dirty cunt was D, I think. It's just like all this, and it's like from 1974, and it's just wild listening to that, and it's the sample from We Bout to Blow. So everyone out there, type in Blowfly, Sesame Street, you will laugh. If you like 2 Live Crew, it's pretty much the same idea. So that also put it 1 spot higher on my list because it made me laugh. So We Bout to Blow with Big Stan was my number 4. What was yours, Raven?
So I had to make a note about Blowfly.
Oh,
So
you got to look that shit up. It's funny as
yeah.
fuck. I know C was for cunt for sure.
um, I went back. I went to 2006's Year of the Dog again for Lord Give Me a Sign. Love the beat. I love his flow. It's another great real feeling song. Love that hook, and I even I did my own version of that song for
Oh,
Riff Raff Radio mixtape volume 1 back in like 2010, where I also stole his hook. But yeah, I love that song.
that didn't make my honorable mentions, but he does have a lot of good on the real songs. He was never afraid to bare his soul, even with his demons, like his long, drug addiction, which he dealt with for his whole adult life. He didn't shy away from it. He talked about it all the time, like doing coke, and most rappers wouldn't brag about doing that type of drug, weed, one thing. Or I can't think of a lot of rappers that are like, yeah, I'm hooked on crack.
Right.
Right?
But he was incarcerated 30 times from 16 to his death.
It's
Like
crazy,
that's
isn't it?
he's damn near spent more time locked up than he did free, and it's crazy that he put out all these albums in the
Right.
middle of it.
Yeah, no shit. He must have just done his bids
Wrote like he
and in
wrote
the
while he was
studio.
in jail,
Right.
and then jumped
Get
in the
out.
studio.
We are on 4 yet, and we are on Riplak.
I got X Gonna Give It to You. Just another hype ass song that it's like, damn, he did it again. But
Yeah, it's one of those singles. There's so many of them, but they all work, and they're all kind of the same idea.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Like
they're all kind of the same, but they're all good. It's weird how that
so
works.
sometimes you think of one, you think of one, and that's why I was saying when he passed away, I listened to a lot of DMX in that time, and it was just like, oh yeah. Because if you think of one of the hype ones and then another one comes on, you're like, oh, and then another, you're like, how many did he make that actually did
Right.
work? Like it's crazy.
A lot. I almost wish I would have looked like his singles, just what big singles there were, because every album had at least one or two big ones like that. Which brings us to the top three already. We're flying through the X-Man, and I'm going back to 99's, and then there was X, which I'm holding upside down. Then there was X, and I'm going with Here We Go Again. What a story he tells. He paints such a vivid picture with his words, and it literally feels like you're there. Him trying to deal with this hard head little homie who's breaking the rules of the game. You almost can make a whole movie out of this song. It's just so detailed, and it's a really great beat that fit the mood by DJ Shock. But the best part is when X is firing the gun, it's like click, there's a bullet in one of them, feeling lucky, click, and he goes through all, and it's the last shot, and then you hear the gunshot. Just done fucking perfectly. Rhymes, beats, everything. Little Shorty just wouldn't listen, and he had to get shot by an X. Here we go again. I fucking love that song. I almost wish it was higher, but it made it to three only. What made it to three for you, Raven?
That was my number 11. That is what One More Road to Cross edged out. Um, but my number 3, I went with I Can Feel It from It's Dark and Hell Is Hot. Great sample with the
Phil
great hook,
Collins.
love I just look that was probably the first song I heard from him where I love that style from X, which it's crazy, he's known for the gritty street, but he's so good at the bearing his soul. And I'm actually really surprised at just how many fucking of those songs made this list. And like none of the big singles. I was really surprised with this list here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was obviously an honorable mention, the Phil Collins sample, Air of the Night, and it's done perfect. That's like something on paper that doesn't seem like it should work. All right, you got
But
DMX, and we're gonna sample Phil Collins. Just like this through this whole thing, I was thinking, let's say I never heard of DMX, and a person just said, "Oh, there's this rapper," and in pretty much every song in the background, he just barks like a dog. I'd be like, "What the fuck? That's some weird, weak shit." But he makes it look hard and gangster. Like, holy shit! Even his barks are gritty and street. It's just funny that he's barking in the back, and everyone's just like, "Yeah." But it's funny if you just would write it
usually
down on
barking with
paper.
it.
Right. Yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Hell, that's one of the first things I do when I'm singing at DMX. I just think that's funny to look at it from that point of view. But anyways, number 3, Riplak, what you got?
I have Stop Being Greedy.
Another honorable mention.
It hurt
Love
me not to make my list too.
uh I just love it, man. Like I love the pace of the song and
Right. His
I
flow
like how
on
it
it.
holds up too at certain parts.
Yeah, I love the flow of it. Is really good. That was probably my number 11 or 12.
Like, there's
Um,
really cool piano looking like
right.
going crazy in that thing.
Mhm.
I don't know,
No,
man. I just always love that song.
no, I'm glad I made someone's list because, like I said, that was close to making it on mine, but it didn't. And we're at number 2, and I'll go to that great debut album. It's Dark as Hell and Hot. And you both have already talked about it, Damien. Speaking of storytelling, this is the song that really got me respecting his storytelling ability. I know we pretty much covered it all. It's fucking amazing, but you can even look at this deeper. You know, is he selling his soul to the devil, or is Damien another part of his personality, or is Damien the temptations of this world? If you want, you could really go deep and look at the song in different ways if you put Damien as a different thing. And you never really know for sure what Damien is. He might just be Damien like the devil, right? And my last note is, why don't newer rappers tell stories anymore? I mean, give us a story once or twice that we can understand. Don't mumble rap it. But you both touched on it. Damien's fucking incredible.
That's a good point about it too, just looking at it from different angles. And I think that's why I
Yeah.
love it so much. 'Cause I'm like, well, who the fuck is this guy?
Right. You can look
And
at
then
it
like
from,
you do let it
yeah,
run wild, and it's
right.
just
Another, you can write another thing. You can make a whole movie off the Damien song. Just so incredible. It was so hard not to put it at one because I love storytelling. But it was number 2. And what was number 2 for you, Raven?
I went to 98 Plus of My Flesh with Bring Your Whole Crew. It's such a great opening track. It's such a hard beat. The flow, I got blood on my hands and there's no remorse. I got blood on my dick because I fucked the corpse. Like, I just rapped that shit so much when that album came out. And it opens up like how good that second album continues from the
Right.
first. Like, it felt like a package and you didn't really get that too often.
To have them both be that high quality in one year. You've seen it other times where people would put out 2 in a year's time, but you'd also see a lot of filler. Although the first one's better, they're both really solid records, really, really good records. And to have that be the opening line, I mean, it just hooks you right away. All right, number 2, what's on your list, Riplak?
I did this one because it's in I don't know, man. I'm kind of before I made the list, I didn't think it was going to make my list, but it's kind of like the anthem that holds up to this day, which was his first, like Rough Riders anthem,
It does hold up.
which, it gets kind of like, you've heard it so many times, but at the same time, it's kind of almost on that, like, we will rock you, like, kind of on
Right.
like this, like,
Yep.
one that
Mm-hmm.
everybody knows, man,
You're
and
right.
it plays everywhere all the time.
I said Party Up might be the one most people know. This might even be more. I mean, everyone knows Stop, Drop. I mean, soccer
Hmm.
moms are singing that too. And it does hold up. I mean, going through it again multiple times, I mean,
Yeah.
it entertained me just as much, even though it's a song we've probably heard 10,000 times in our life. But that was honorable mention. I'm glad it made someone's list. And we are already to 1. And nobody has said my number 1 yet. And I kind of thought I would make both your lists. So could this be the first time in Still a B-Boy podcast history where everyone has the same number 1? I'm gonna tell you my number 1. Don't let me down, guys. We're trying to make history. My number 1, 1998's Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, Slippin'. This shit just speaks to me. I already see you shaking your head. Guess we're not making history. Slippin'. Talk about unreal songs. This one is his best to me. It hits me in the soul, right in the chest. Such an amazing on the real type song. And this is one where he's basically addressing all of his drug addictions. Another DJ Shock beat that sets the tone. But also, so on the album, Slippin' is edited, even though everything else is explicit. And I love this song. So it's like, what the fuck? And this is 98. I can't just go on the internet and download it. So then I went and bought the single. Those were all edited. I had to get the UK import single to get the explicit version of Slippin'. Why? I don't know. But you couldn't get any US release at the time that had the explicit version. I mean, I sought that shit out so much and then finally found it with the UK import. But I love this song. It just hits me in the chest. And like we say almost every list, I'm a softie at heart. So Slip and Fallen, I Can't Get Up is my number one. What's yours, Raven?
So my number one, like I thought would make other people's lists, but I didn't know anybody else would pick Slippin' as their number one. That song, I always knew that it was different from the rest of that album. But when revisiting, it's 100% the song I played the most while going through these albums. I kept going back and listening to that track again. And it's such a great hook. It's such a just really good beat. And I agree that it is the best real track that X ever put out. Like you could feel he was going through shit. He was probably in jail when he wrote this, but he put something in that song.
Yeah, the feeling behind it is just so amazing. That's awesome. It was your number one too. So look, you shouldn't have shook your head before, Riplak. I'd be like, oh shit, oh, we're almost making history. Riplak, what is your number one?
Well, I must be slipping, huh?
Ah,
I don't know, man. That wasn't towards the beginning when I was like, man, something didn't make it that I bet made your guys, and then I look at it's number one. I just couldn't do it, man. So many people love that song to death, and I get it why, but like I can't stand the sound of it. Like
oh
I
shit.
don't like it. But I will tell you, this one has a lot of personal, my number one, and not just personal. Like I love the beat, I love the story, everything. And being Riplak, that's for my mom, rest in peace. But one of her favorite poem was Footprints. So I had to put the combo. I can listen to that over and over and over all day long. And I'm actually want to get a tattoo with like kind of like combine somehow those two. Or maybe if it's like footprints with like a DMX dog print or something. I don't know. I like because I have a
That'd
piece.
be a cool idea.
I
That
know.
is a dope idea.
That's a
I
really
have
good
a
idea.
rip black on my back with like
Hmm.
the portrait and the cross she gave with some other symbolism. And there's like a space under that I think I'm gonna do the footprint thing. But I can listen to that song over and over and I actually like can't not like rap along with it. I just belted it out. I love that thing. Like that's my number one. That was my easiest choice on the whole list.
That's when music is at its greatest, when it becomes
Mhm.
personal. There's songs like that where I feel like it's like he wrote it for me, like he was thinking about me. It relates so
Yeah,
much.
it's
Um,
perfect. I love
that
it so much.
that's when music is at its best, and it's all right. Well, it's all right that you didn't help us break history.
Oh no, I shouldn't have gave it away. I just couldn't do it because I was waiting. I was like, man, that song is going to make their list, and it made your number ones. People love that song. I'm not
Oh,
blaming any.
to me, it's so amazing. Uh, but honorable mentions. If you're joining us for the first time, if a song didn't get brought up at all by anyone, and I think it needs some love, I do a quick honorable mention just to give it some love. So let's see what didn't get mentioned. From It's Dark and Hell is hot. Let Me Fly, I like. And then there was X, the professional, where he's like a hitman. And I love the part where he's talking about they put the flowers on the top of the steps. And he's like, I was there. You ain't die at the top of the steps. From Great Depression, I Miss You, another on the real one. From Grand Champ, The Rain, another on the real one. And I really like Fuck Y'all. And from You're the Dog, I got We In Here, another one of them big singles. Are we missing anything else?
You just hit all my mentions.
Yeah, not really. Raven, did you not have X's coming for you on your list?
No, actually,
I'm
I
really
didn't.
shocked.
Surprised. Yeah,
I thought you would,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
just for
actually
like being
completely up my alley, but for
Yeah.
some reason, that one slipped by me. And after I heard y'all talking about it, I was playing it in my head, like, how did I listen to that album 5 times last week and miss putting that on the list?
That is funny you say that, Riplak, because I was thinking it while I was listening to it. Oh, this will make
Well, that's
Raven's
gonna be
list.
high. Oh, he has a set.
Normally that would be like top 3 easy, but bring your
Yeah,
whole crew, I guess, was just a little harder for me. I don't know.
yeah, you shocked me on that one. So DMX, rest in peace to DMX. Such a unique character. Wasn't afraid to speak his mind, bare his soul. Had such a unique flow. Did so much for hip hop in pretty much a short amount of time. Although towards the end, he put out a couple more albums. We didn't talk about any of those albums because there wasn't that much to talk about. But that 5 year, 6 year run, just the quality he put out. No one could tell a story like Darkman X. It was a great show. We're done. Peace.
Still a b-boy, from the old to the new, still a b-boy. Too bold for the school, still a b-boy. East coast to the west, b-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed. Still a b-boy, from the old to the new, still a b-boy. Too bold for the school, still a b-boy. East coast to the west, b-boys worldwide, we supposed to be blessed.